RogersBase here. Hello, good morning, happy Super Bowl Sunday, and welcome to my live reaction to One Piece manga chapter 1173. I got my cup of coffee right here, my little Mammoth Boys mug. We are getting started with this chapter. Apologies for starting a little bit early. As you guys know, I was here in Vegas for a wedding. We're driving back. We want to beat traffic. I figured instead of waiting the hour where you guys could then read the chapter and then we'll go live, I'll just go live right at 8. But hello and welcome everybody. And the nice thing is the chapter is actually already up on Viz. Normally it takes like a few minutes, but right at 8, literally they refresh the servers and the chapter is there. So we're chilling. So hello and welcome everybody. We are going to get started with One Piece 1173. This one is titled Warrior Generation. Let me make sure I have this open on my monitor. All good. There we are. Also, I'm seeing people say hello, Roger. Hello, hello, hello. I thought it was going to be live an hour ago. Well, I think the chapter went live an hour ago, which is weird. Again, normally it goes up at like 8 a.m., but it went up pretty early. So we're chilling. All right. 1173 Warrior Generation. Reader request. Already, this is weird. Very beginning. Reader request, Usopp smearing honey on the tip of his nose to lure in rhinoceros beetles by Hoshimiya. And you've got Usopp with honey on the tip of his nose, Chopper looking around the tree, licking his lips, and you can see a little beetle fluttering his way down there. But all right, very, very, very strange request, but I'm cool with this. I know it's weird because we just got out of a pretty big cover story, but I'm like, when is the next cover story going to start? I know I was complaining about the Yamato one for so long, but now I'm like, I am excited to see more of what's going to be happening with some of these other characters in the cover story. So while these requests are cute, I want to get more into like canon material. All right. With that being said, let's get started. 1173. All right. And we're opening up with a giant panel of them screaming, "Kill Jarl." And you can see the main town completely on fire. The Domi Reversi giants there with the trident, and Jarl still standing there after has given his big speech last week, which I still think was a really solid way to end that chapter. All right, so Dory and Broggy right there with their fangs and their giant wings. He's got the big axe, and then Jarl saying, "Dory and Broggy, what has become of you?" As he's shaking his head, and you could see the little "Yar" exclamation in the background. What plan do you speak of, Roronoa Zoro? First, I need you to tell me if it's okay to cut them into pieces. So this is obviously coming off of Jarl's speech. We also had Zoro saying it's time for me to get into action. Now we're about to see it. Okay, let's see. Here we go. Is it okay for me to cut them into pieces? And you got Harden saying that's a good question. They're all members of the giant pirate crew. While protecting Chief Jarl's life is our top priority, ideally we don't want to harm vaunted warriors who've earned our respect. Okay. Is that Haruden and Stanson? And you can see two of the Domi Reversing ones are looking on over. They've spotted us. And remember, don't get sandwiched. So we're getting into the actual fights with these giants now. This is cool. Have you boys managed to unite all of giant kind? I'm guessing the answer is no. Zoog, yeah. The very strange laugh. But, come to expect that with One Piece. And you've got both of them looking it over going, yeah, do what you got to do, Zoro. Cut them off. They're making fun of him. These Domi Reversi giants are making fun of Harden. And they're like, no, you know what? Do what you got to do. You got to kill them all. Go crazy. And Zoro, smiling through this, says, I hear you, brothers, as he hops off of Harden's shoulder. They can't sandwich you if you're over ahead, huh? Ga. Very clever. Okay, let's flank them from the side, Stanson. You got it, Harden. And you can see one of the Domi Reversi giants kind of like slamming his sword down. Let me move this over here as well so you guys can see it a little bit. Slamming his sword down. One of them has the other hammer in the other direction. As you see Zoro using the tops of the giants as little stepping stools and bouncing all over the place. Just the little bonk, bonk, bonk sound effect. And you can see the other giants going, hey, what? And then clonk as it's landing on the top of their helmet. He's up above. Look, it's a little puny human. Meanwhile, he's gripping his swords, about to do some damage. 3 sword style secret art. Okay, what are you gonna do, Zoro? Love that shot of him with the fist in the very front of the camera. One of the swords up top, and him just gripping it with the vein popping out of his head. That looks pretty cool. All right, so Secret Art, turn to the next page. Crossing the Sixth Paths is the name of this attack, and you can see immediately wipes all of them out. Again, incredibly impressive. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 giants there, and they're done. Crossing the Six Paths, good name for the attack to take them down. You can see them all screaming, and then the other one goes, well done, Roronoa. And meanwhile, he's already bumping over to the other ones. Wow, to Dory and Broggy. Okay, Billion Berry Dory and Broggy. What's going on? And he's got 2 swords in both his hands, slicing up both of their shields. Wow, this is a Zoro aura kind of chapter, man. This is like that is what this is. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Putting in some work, Zoro. This is very cool. So Zoro's slicing up their shields. You can see Dory and Broggy still grinning through all of it, but the shields have been bisected. But wait a minute. Wait. What's going on here? The damage is, oh, wait. They're slashing each other. I saw this. I saw him jumping. I saw that wrong. Wait, what? What is happening here? You see that? Wait, what? And Jarl's going, Dory, Broggy, captains. They're slicing one another. Trying to go for Zoro and then right into them. Yo, that looks bad. Meanwhile, we're jumping away from that. I wanted to see more of that, but you could just see the little bit of Dory and Broggy on the bottom. They're bleeding out in shadow. Wow. Yeah, Zoro ducked, and then the 2 of them got hit. Man, oh man, oh man. You'd think in their Domi reversing form, they'd know to get out of the way quick enough, but I guess they're giants. They're big and slow. It is what it is. Yeah, very, very reminiscent of Little Garden, though. That's a cool little technique. Yeah, exactly. He slashed the air, forcing himself downwards. That's kind of cool. All right, well, we're getting right out of there. And Brook branch, Route 9, okay, or Route 8, excuse me. Route 8, Brook. Oh, finally, good. We're getting some of this. Brook and Gunkko. Push and push and push. Princess Shuri. Okay. Princess Shuri, is that you, Princess Shuri? And meanwhile, you can see Gunkko looking a little different there. Interesting. Looking over at Brook. Brook huffing, but still staying silent, all wrapped up in the bandages. Of course not. I know you can't be her, but you look so alike that it reminds me of her. And I couldn't help but check just in case. Now, obviously, she recognized the name. She turned. There was a brief moment of silence, and they looked. So there's something going on there. Even if you're not the same person, though, you must be blood relatives, yes? I mean, if she were still alive, she'd be nearly 80 years old after all. And she certainly wouldn't recognize me, not in the state that I'm in anyway. But your face, your blue hair, ooh, okay. Nice use of confirming color schemes right here. I like this a lot. Here we go. Your face, your blue hair, your mismatched eyes, the Holy Land, and your love for my music. All of this aligns perfectly, doesn't it, Princess Shuri? I never wanted to think of you again for the rest of my life. Not the father-killing princess. The life you stole belonged to the man to whom I owe everything. Okay, so things are twisting. It seems like there's a twist to the story. Wow, so it's not that like she was somebody that he was protecting. This is actually, he's pissed at her. I never wanted to think of you again for the rest of my life. Not the father-killing princess. The life you stole away belonged to the man who I owed everything to. Interesting. Okay. Now, what is this? She's grimacing a little bit, and you can see Imu speaking through her saying, Gunkko, is thy memory coming back? And you can see the Imu eyes, the shakiness of the camera. She's waking out of it. Run, Brook! Ooh! Wow, we're getting to this quick. I did not think we were going to get here for a while. Wow. Run, Brook. What? The rope is wobbling. So there you go. You could see the mummy wrap arrow rope. It's wobbling. He's free. Gunkko, How darest thou? Brook, Brook, and you can see she's shaking now. Wings are shaking as well. But uh-oh, the arrow tightened up again. So Brook thankfully slipped out of it, but the arrow turned back into how it was. What was that just now? What do you mean run? Don't you realize I came to finish what I started? Tell me, who in the world are you? Oh man, this is going to be good. This is going to be good. And then he's going to find out it wasn't actually her. It was Imu taking over her who killed the one that he loved. Oh, this is going to be good. Good. Family drama. You love this kind of stuff. And Gunkko's glaring over at Brook. Shut thy mouth. What are thee to Gunkko? Booms. Wow. Okay. Fight. Brook doing something in big 2026. I love this. Hold on. Brook with the shield and the sword. Okay. Man, do you remember that brief period of time during Whole Cake Island where Brook was like the MVP? That Brook, every single thing Brook did was hype. When Brook was talking back to Big Mom, saying, sit down, young lady, Brook was breaking the photo. Brook finally coming in his own again. I love to see this. I love when they get serious about Brook. Good. Wow. Also, not what I was expecting out of this chapter going into this morning. This is a very welcome surprise. All right, so it looks like we're moving away from this, though. So after you get shut thy mouth, what are the Gunkko? Cuts over to Usopp. Branch Route 8. Okay, I'm free. I feel like my mental powers did that. But why did they go slack for just a moment? Because Brook got through to her. There you go. There they are. Robin's tied up with something else, so we got to get you out. You can see her still surrounded by the thorns. And she says, don't worry about me. Just save the children, Nami. The western village is quite far away. Ange took off running, and she might not even make it in time. And you can see them all running the other direction. Oh, Nami. And obviously, Sanji's already made his way back. Very good. Now we're cutting on over to the western village, branch Route 8, with Summers and the kids. Yee-haw! Walk, you brats. The goal is just ahead. I bet you're one of the demon chiefs that Jarl was talking about. Well, you're going to regret it. Elbaf is really strong. We know that. That's why we're using you. After all, I hear you're Gabon's son, right? And you can see Colin talking back to Summers saying, shut up and untie these ropes. Yeah, let us go. Or at least let us fight fair and square. And he's just laughing back at all of them. You're too funny. Interesting, too. He's got this like thorn snake thing right there, too. Interesting. You know what that snake reminds me of? You guys ever seen The Nightmare Before Christmas? I'm sure you have. There's like the snake when Jack Skellington's delivering all the presents that eats all the presents up. That's kind of what that looks like a little bit. Or like the snake from Beetlejuice, the big snake from Beetlejuice, only it's made of thorns here. All right, so he says, gee-ha-ha, you're funny, but it's too late, kids. Look over there. It's the port and ship. Take a good look at your homeland, because it's the last time you'll ever see it. What? No, that can't be. I won't get to see Mom and Dad anymore? Please, don't take us away, please. Now they're talking over the Dendenmushi. Hello, Great One, Killingham. I have almost completed the mission. Okay. Wow, we're still going. This seems like a pretty long chapter. This is pretty good. I want to get out of here as soon as possible. Is there anything else we need to do? You can see them all screaming their names. Colin, Ilva, Olav. What are those sleep tids doing? They're supposed to be keeping the giants occupied. What's happening here? Meanwhile, you got Ripley and Oimo and Kashi all running. Mama, our parents, Grandpa Oimo. Look at that. Up from above, though, it's Nika, the god of destruction. So we're actually going to see this false Nika in action here, the nightmare Nika. And he's slamming down. I love the expressions on the kids' faces as they're walking in the line. The one that's second from the left with his eyeballs popping out. Mommy, please save us. You call that thing Nika? Don't play games with us, because we are from the warrior generation. Okay, so all the parents are stepping up to the plate, slashing at this false Nika of destruction. And you can see all the kids now all freaking out, same way the kid second from the left was. All their eyeballs are popping out, going, they're so strong. What's happening here? As the giant nightmare Nika is grinning and sort of growling at them with the snot bubble coming out of his nose and his weird little eyes. All right, look over there. That's where the kids are. But it's too late, even if we run. Here we go, Goldberg. Ready? Double General. All right, so we've got all the new giant pirates charging up for an attack. You got Roto over here saying, wait, I could join in too. I'm coming to save you, little brother. Okay. Triple General Gokoku Sovereignty. And you just get one shot attack from the three of them, not really even showcasing what this attack is. It's just a giant beam of white that goes right through Nika all the way down. You see Gyow as the Nika's starting to disintegrate and fall to the ground. Gokoku Sovereignty. He's screaming. And they go right through it. Okay. I wish we would have actually seen like the attack instead of just whatever this is, where you get like the little shot of their faces, them winding up, and then the attack's already happened. But okay. So this giant destruction Nika is going growl and fall to the ground. And you got Summers, all right, standing at the ready, getting ready to fight them. Oi, you trying to flatten me? And you can see he's got his giant mace. And as the Nika is falling down, it comes and lands on the ship. And Summers is about to realize this is going to be bad. The ship has been taken out. The plan is getting messed up. There's nowhere to leave the kids. There's nowhere to take them out of here. And Summers, that's a good panel to end it on. Summers, shaded out face, shaded out glasses, snot dripping from his nose, goes, oh, shoot. And the chapter ends. Ship has been destroyed by the giant Nika from the attack from the giant rogue pirates. And that's the end of the chapter. That's it. One Piece manga chapter 1173, Warrior Generation End. Okay. Cool. Yeah, this was cool. This was cool. Again, this is another one of those chapters that I feel like is mostly setting up to the good stuff, right? But there's a lot of important stuff that happened in this one. I think the fact that the ship has now been taken down by this giant nightmare Nika. Honestly, I thought the Nika fight would go on longer. I thought that of all the nightmare ones, that would be one of the ones that we would really focus on, that we would get more information about, where that even comes from. The idea of like the kids thinking of Nika as a god of destruction versus a god of liberation. I wish we would have gotten a little bit of more of that, but it is what it is. That's fine. What I was very excited to see in this chapter, and I am very intrigued by, is the Brook and Gunkko stuff. First off, him calling her Princess Shuri, and then getting that clarification that he believes that she killed her father, who was actually Brook's benefactor. And now we're finding out in real time that no. Obviously, that was going to be her taken over by Emu, who did that. And I'm very excited to see how Brook is going to come to that revelation and find out the truth about what's going on with Gunkko. I like that you get that little moment of weakness where Gunkko tells her to run, and then you see the little arrows loosen up again. I thought that was pretty cool. Also, it feels like this chapter was pretty long. I feel like as we were reading through it, it was 16, 17 pages, but I feel like there was a lot of dialogue in this one. It seems like a meaty, moving things right along kind of chapter. I thought the Zoro stuff was cool, Again, a lot of these giants are characters that, like, I have no real attachment to, so I'm not, like, amazed by some of these attacks. Him wiping out these, like, 6 nameless giants, I'm like, yeah, okay, that's fine. It looks cool. The thing that kind of threw me off when I was reading it for the first time after he did that crossing of the 6-paths thing was Zoro like slashing down at the air and then ducking out of the way. You get that explosion, then the attack of Dory and Bragi, and then them hurting each other, right? And them still grinning through the pain. I thought was kind of interesting. You could see Jarl screaming for both of them. That's on page 6 and on page 7. Again, it's moving pretty quickly, I think, through a lot of this stuff. I think I would have expected the lead up to the stuff with the kids in the ship to have taken a little while longer, and the stuff with Gunkko coming to her senses to come a little, it would take a little while longer to get there. But I'm happy with the fact that it's resolving pretty quickly, which then leads me to believe we're going to be getting to the overall conflict, the top climax of this arc very, very soon. I know Oda said that we were going to hit the climax of Elbaf this year. We were going to have this big, shocking conclusion. And he's sticking to his word, man. We're moving at a very, very good pace through this content. And again, the little teases that they're giving us of the stuff with Gunkko and Shuri, Summers, his interactions with the kids. I like the fact that like Summers has that conversation specifically with Gabon's kid. Now that we know how scared he is of Gabon and some of the Roger pirates from what we've seen at God Valley, I think that's kind of cool. Again, it's the way that the arc is being laid out is just very different from what I would have expected going into Elbaf, and that's not a bad thing. It's just a very different type of setup to a climax that I think we're not really used to, because I think seeing all these giant Domi Reversi giants over here and then like Dory and Broggy attacking each other, really, I feel no threat from any of them at this point. Where we are in the story, these nightmare cryptids are getting taken out one by one each page. And I think that's okay. I think with where we are in the story, seeing how strong Loki is, seeing how strong Luffy is, I think there's no need to like falsify how strong some of these characters are. I think Zoro cutting through 6 of these giants in a quick panel is a good thing, right? It moves us further along. So I do wonder like what the overall final conflict will look like once Loki is involved and once the Straw Hats are fully involved. Because again, I feel like where we are currently, you've got Summers scared over a ship getting destroyed. You've got Gunkko breaking out of it just by talking to Brook. And Killingham's kind of the only one holding it down over the Den Den Mushis right now. He's kind of the only he's the only one still doing stuff. And even then, his nightmare cryptids are being taken down one after another. So I feel like once Luffy, Zoro, Loki are all together, there's kind of nothing they can't do. I feel like Elbaf is going to be a one and done for them. I'm not really worried about it at all. Yeah. But I think this is a pretty cool chapter. I think it's a pretty cool setup. Again, I really want to know more about the stuff with Brook. And I like that little bit of exposition that we got on page 8, where he said, even if you're not the same person, you must be blood relatives. If she were still alive, she'd be nearly 80 years old after all. She certainly wouldn't recognize me, not in the state that I'm in. Your face, your blue hair, the mismatched eyes, the Holy Land, the love for music, it all aligns perfectly. Also, Chad is saying it's not really that Summers is scared. It's more that he's shocked by what happened. I mean, to be fair, it's same kind of thing. It doesn't really matter. I'm not saying he's scared for like his life, but I think he's scared to not be able to complete the mission. They want to get these kids back. I don't think it's more of like the ship is gone. What are we going to do now? We have to literally, no pun intended, like redirect course, right? Talking about Emu's power and Gunkko's power. So yeah, I don't know. We're going to see what happens here. Yeah, I don't know. This is gonna be cool. This is gonna be cool. Also, I think you misunderstand. Summers destroyed the ship. No, I get it. He smacked the thing and then the ship got destroyed. I get it. I'm just saying, I think he's shocked by the fact that he actually destroyed it. I think that was not part of the plan. Yeah. Anything else I want to talk about? Anything else I want to talk about in this? Not really. I think this is a pretty cut and dry one. Not really a lot of other stuff to talk about. The stuff with the new giant pirates I don't know. The new giant pirate attack at the end was kind of lame, to be honest. I feel like I thought Zoro's attack and some of the other attacks, even the Dory and Broggy one was kind of cool in the beginning. Yeah. Also, I see Jarvis in the chat saying, with everything that's going on, Summers is kind of a comic relief right now. A little bit, to be fair. He's the one hanging out with the kids, destroying his own stuff. I mean, you're not wrong. Do you think we're going to get a full-on Brook flashback soon? I don't think we're going to get a super long Brook flashback. I think if we get a Brook flashback, it'd probably be maybe like a chapter or two. But I don't think we're going to get a super long one. I think coming off of that giant flashback we just had for like a year, I don't see a world in which Oda then goes into another flashback. But I could be wrong, I could be wrong. I would like to see that. I was also a little disappointed with how the Nika nightmare went down. Yeah, I really thought of all the nightmare cryptids, that was going to be the one that we were going to focus on. Because that's such a neat concept. The idea that some of the people of Elbaf see Nika as a god of destruction. And for that to just be like, no, he's done. And here's these other new giant pirates, and they're going to do this attack. That we don't even really see the attack. We just see, like, we get nothing. We get some slashes from these no-name warrior generation parents. They're not no names. I mean, Oimo and Ripley have names, but like you see them attacking the giant thing, and then you get the 3 new giant pirates doing the attack, and then you don't even see like the slash coming from it. You just see a giant use of white space. I don't know. It doesn't seem to have an impact to me. I don't know. I don't really feel like I care about the new giant pirates as much as I should by this point. And I feel like the old pirate generation, the Dorian Broggy kind of generation, I feel like their power kind of fluctuates per chapter. I feel like sometimes we're meant to see them and go like, "Oh my gosh, everything is going to be going so terribly and we really have to watch out for them." And then you get chapters like this where Zoro literally just ducks out of the way and they're killing each other. In which case it's like, "Oh, okay, so like let them do their own thing, set things up like Little Garden and have them attack each other." Like I don't know. I don't know. I think that's the one weird situation we've been put in with Elbaf is that in terms of like the powers of these characters, you've gotten this new hyped up power level of these giants, right? Oh, they're billion berry bounty, crazy strong warriors, whatever. But then we get into a flashback and we get introduced to some character that's going to wipe all of them, or you see this shot of Zoro that just like cuts up 6 of them immediately. So again, it's not like a fault of anything, it's how it is. I think we're at a point in the story now. We've got really strong characters doing really strong attacks that can wipe out giants that have been hyped up very, very quickly. Yeah. Also, Tyrone, is that Tyrone or Tyante? In the chat just said, ever since seeing Dorian Broggy get done in by Mr. 3, I could never see them the same way. Yeah, but I mean, again, the same Dorian Broggy that got done in by Mr. 3 was the same Dorian Broggy that was standing up to Goro Say back in Egghead Island. You know what I mean? Like there's specifically, I feel like the Giants are just whatever Oda wants to do with them, Oda's going to do with them. I don't think sometimes they're crazy strong and they can take on people well beyond what you would expect them to take on. And then other times, yeah, like you said, they're getting done in by dudes with wax powers. So it is what it is. Yeah, it is what it is. Anything else I want to discuss in this chapter? I don't know. I feel like, again, this one was pretty cut and dry. I don't think there's really much to discuss in this one, which again is fine. You don't always have to have a lot of things to discuss, but yeah, I don't know. Again, Zoro's taking out some giants. We've got Gunkko. Well, we already talked about that, the stuff with Shuri. But again, it was mostly him reminding us of stuff that we kind of already assumed this chapter. The only new bit of information was the thing where she killed her father. But again, I think knowing context clues from everything that we know about this arc, obviously she got Domi Reversi. This is going to have to be like she was a child or she was the princess, right? She was Princess Shuri. And then she got taken over by Imu, made some kind of pact with Imu. Imu, probably thought she was doing a good thing. Imu then forced her to kill her father. Brook saw it, and that's going to lead to where we are now. So yeah, I'm just really, I'd say if I could say one thing about this chapter that I really, really enjoyed, I just really like seeing Brook do something, I really like seeing Brook come to the forefront and do some cool stuff and have him directly involved with the story. Because again, the one of the 3 that I'm most interested to find out more about is definitely Gunkko, Summers, like you guys said, is a little bit like a comic relief at this point. Killingham's just in the background with his nightmares. But I feel like Gunkko and her kingdom and that history with Brook is way more interesting to me. Yeah. Also, looks like we don't have a break next week, which is great as well. So we're getting right into it again on Sunday. Very, very good. No break after no break. You love to see that. Jumping right into the action of Elbaf. And also, who would have thought that Elbaf would have been a Brook arc before Usopp? I mean, Usopp's going to do something. You got the little thing where it said Usopp at branch 8. Right when he got out of the Gunkko arrows, and he's like, my powers are coming back. I feel like he's going to do something cool. Usopp's going to do something. Again, I think with where we are currently in Elbaf and knowing how quickly we're probably going to get out a lot of this stuff, I'm not expecting too many big things from any of the characters other than like Luffy and Loki. If Usopp does something really, really cool, great, I'll be happy. But I'm also not expecting it because I feel like if you go in expecting it and it doesn't happen, then you're going to be disappointed. But I think with where we are in the story right now, the stakes within the story right now, the characters in the story right now that we need to know more about, Usopp's kind of low on my totem pole. But I want him to do more, Obviously, I want him to do more. Usopp has been hyping up Elbaf for so long. But again, it'll happen. It's just not his time yet, He wasn't directly involved with any of the stuff that we were worried about this chapter, but I think he'll do more. Yeah. All right. Well, with that being said, let me open up my Google Drive And let's see what James did for the thumbnail this week. Give me a second, everybody. Hold on a minute. Ooh. Ooh. Very nice. Look at that. Taking advantage of the fact that Brooke said that Gunkko had blue hair. Look at that. That's a beautiful one. Back to back with Brook and Gunkko. That almost looks like they're already working together in this week's. Doesn't that look cool? That is really, really neat. Yeah, taking some liberties, because I don't think there's really a moment in which the two of them look like that, but I think it makes for an awesome thumbnail. So I think James did a great job. Wow, the detail on Brooke's little shoulder pads, that looks really good. I love what he did with Gunkko's eyes there as well. The style of this one, specifically with how Gunkko looks with like the not as thick lines, it reminds me a lot of like a Disney Adventures front page. That's the best way that I would describe it. That color scheme and the size of the actual brush itself reminds me of a Disney Adventures front page. Did you guys ever get Disney Adventures as a kid? Those little Disney magazines? They'd have like drawings of the Disney characters, but they would be done very much in that style with that exact lighting scheme. Dude, that's very cool. Here, I'll even zoom in a little bit so you guys can see more of what I'm talking about here. Look. Let me zoom in on Gunkko's face. Dude, James went all in with the detail. Like, look at that. That's just the Gunkko face portion of it. That is really amazing stuff with the bandages and the two different colored eyes, the shading on the goggles, the hair. And then you zoom on out. Here, I'll zoom in on the Brooks side as well. Brooks is almost like, here, I'll do that. Check that out. Check out the Brooks side. Doesn't that look cool, man? Wow. Yeah, as Aaron always says, James never, ever misses, man. Beautiful. Really beautiful stuff. I'm glad he went with Brooke, too, because I feel like, when was the last time we had a Brooke thumbnail? I think the last time we had a Brooke thumbnail was probably Nico Robin and her haircut. Back in like early Elbath, I think was the last time that we saw Brooke. And Gunkko, I don't think the last time we saw Gunkko was, I think, the one with the arrows that he did with like the really cool arrows that were coming down the side. Wow. Yeah, great job, James. Beautiful. Well done, man. Well done. All right. Let's see. I also noticed the sword reflecting in that. That looks really, really clean. Also, not Roger for getting Gunkko got confirmed to have blue hair in volume 113's cover when he made a video about it when talking about Japan. I got to be honest, man. I just forgot about the fact that she had blue hair. I did. Until this very moment, I forgot. But also, I wasn't really just paying attention to her hair in that video when I was talking about getting the volume in Japan. It was more about getting, the physical volume in Japan. It was a cool thing. Yeah. But you're right. I did forget. It's also early in the morning. Literally, I rolled out of bed, got my coffee, packed. I'm just getting over a cold, too. So I forget a lot of things. It is what it is. I also see Lack in the chat saying, I've seen a lot of Americans working in Japan now as animators. Maybe James can do the same. That would be awesome. I'm sure James would love that, working for Toei Animation. All right, let's get into some of these super chats. Let's see what people are talking about this week. Let's see. Let me see. Viewer activity. Let's pull it on. First off, Roberto, thank you very much coming through with the membership, saying I'm glad I was able to make it today. I know that Roger's going to love the chapter. Yeah, it was an enjoyable one. I wouldn't say love. I think it was fine. It was a good one, You got Ice Fisher saying, I'm Brooke and you're watching Disney Channel. Terry Brown coming through with the super chat saying, Roger, happy Super Bowl Sunday. Are you going for any team? I'm a Patriots fan. I don't care really. What are the teams going again in the Super Bowl today? Who are the teams in the Super Bowl? Who's playing in the Super Bowl? I'm going to Google this. Let's see. Who's playing in the Super Bowl? I guess the chat could just tell me because my internet's like acting up right now. I can't pull it up. Whatever the team that isn't the Patriots, that's my choice. Whatever the opposite team is, that's the one I'm going to root for. But Terry gave me money, so I appreciate that, Terry. Thank you. We have Boohoo 723, who said, my goat Brook being the first man to actually fight an emperor and fight Emu. You got to give respect to your elders. Absolutely. Like I said, I like seeing Brook coming into his own. It really is cool. I just think Brook is one of those characters within One Piece that has so much potential in terms of lore drops, right? Because of the amount of time that we did not spend with him. Oh, it's the Seahawks versus the Patriots. Yeah, I'll go with the Seahawks then. I'll go with the Seahawks. Yeah, I don't know. Brook, there's a lot of cool opportunity for Brook to reveal things about the past. And I don't know. I just like Brook as a character in general. So the more Brook, the better. Yeah, more Brook, the better. Clax super chatted. Hey, what's going on, Clax? Saying, I honestly thought the kids would see Gear 5 Luffy and that would transform the Nightmare Nika into a good dream Nika, because that way they wouldn't be afraid of Nika anymore. But I guess that wasn't going to be the case. Guess not. No, again, I didn't necessarily want that, but I wanted something where we got a little more explanation as to why they see Nika as a god of destruction. I wish we would have just gotten a little more there. But again, not a huge deal, you know. So there's other stuff that we got in this chapter. I think the Brook stuff was enough for me to sort of chew on this week. That was totally fine. Let's see what else. What else did we get? Also, Roger, is that shirt from Uniqlo? It looks good. No, Reagan made it. Look. You think Uniqlo sells my merchandise? That would be fire. Uniqlo, if you want to sell my merchandise, that would be great. Please, hit me up, Uniqlo. Let's make this happen. All right? I got a lot of big expenses coming up. Uh-oh, wait, what happened? Hello? Oh, the camera flipped. There we go. I clicked the wrong thing. It went over at the curtains. I was like, what's going on? Yeah, Uniqlo, if you want to work with me for a merch line, let's do it. Let's make this happen, Uniqlo. I would love that. And then this next one comes from Brian again, which is what we brought up earlier. Brian said, do you think we're going to get a Brook flashback ship arc? No, I don't. I think if we get a full Brook flashback of what happened with Gunkko's family, I think it will be one chapter, maybe two. Excuse me. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. We got Trunks coming through with the $5 super chat saying, I think Usopp would be a perfect match for Killingham. Similar situation against Perona where he's already faced his fears, so wouldn't be afraid of his own nightmares. I really like that idea. Also, man, Usopp going up against a God Knight would be extremely hype. I would love that. I feel like that would be the last big thing that Usopp did, I feel like, since God Usopp. I would love that, man. Back in Dressrosa, you know? I feel like, yeah, Usopp versus Killingham is actually maybe that's a good matchup. How would he deal with that, though? Would he have, like, the pop greens eat the dreams or something? Or, yeah, again, the nightmares. I like the idea that, like, he's already thought about the absolute worst possible thing at all times, and he knows he can make it through it with his friends, so he's not really scared of it, and then he's able to, like, just snipe Killingham. I think that's a great choice. That's a really good choice for a matchup. You get Brook and Gunkko. You get Usopp and Killingham. You get Gabon rematch against Summers. You get Luffy, Loki. See, again, it's weird. There's not like one big grand entity other than Emu that's at like the head of all of this. It's like three people and then a bunch of Domi Reversi giants. So unless Emu decides to like appear very similar to like God Valley, not just through Gunkko Emu, but like actually appear and do something crazy, I don't know. I think matchups are a weird one to figure out for this one. Also, Sanji just arrived with Nami, and we all know Sanji's probably going to do something this year. And Zoro's already taken out all these other giants. So, yeah, where does this go, man? Where does this go? Terry Brown said, maybe this is going to change your mind on cheering for the against the Patriots. LOL, I'm done talking football. Thank you, as always, for your reviews and thoughts. Yo, thank you, Terry Brown. You know what? Just for you, because you super chatted again, I'll cheer for the Patriots today. Just for you. You know what? We have a super chat fight going. The people who are super chatting for the Seahawks and the people super chatting for the Patriots. The Patriots fans gave me more money, so I'm going to cheer for the Patriots. Because I got no stake in it whatsoever. I'm a basketball guy, dude. I don't care about football at all. So there you go. There you go. You got it. All right, let's see. Who else is here? Hollow Everest. Hey, run on. Nice seeing you here. Hollow Everest said, I really do feel like Brook is becoming Sanji 2.0. Excuse me. Sorry, you guys. Again, I'm getting over a cold. I feel like Brook is Sanji 2.0. We got his tragic backstory, but now he's been so established, we might even get a second, even more tragic backstory. I don't think it can get much more tragic than systematically watching every one of your crewmates die to go from a quartet to a trio to a duet to a solo, and then finally dying by yourself and coming back to life and chilling with no friends on a boat for 50 years. I feel like that's pretty rough. You know, I don't think Gunkko in the past, or Princess Shuri, right? I don't think Princess Shuri killing Brook's benefactor is going to be more tragic than that. I could see it being on the same level, but I don't think it's going to be more tragic, you know? I'm just excited to see more of that kingdom, the Manmayer family and stuff. That's the kind of stuff that I'm dying to find out more about. People will always joke and meme about me being like, Roger only cares about the fights, only cares about the action. And then there's chapters like this when I'm like, no, give me the good lore stuff. The best part about this was the lore. The best part about this was the stuff with Brook. Give me more lore, please. I like the lore. That's what I want. Let me see. Zero Arctivist came through and said, Luffy and Loki are also still not here, and things are going too well. I feel like something is off. Something is definitely coming, and I wonder what's going on with Lilith, Bonnie, and Saul. That's a good... Yeah, Lilith is still working on Kuma, chilling in the back with Bonnie. You're right. And Saul's over there with them. I mean, there's so many characters that are involved right now that, again, I'm not even, like, really worried about them. There's going to have to be something big from Emu that's going to make things really, 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 really scary. Because right now, I think I'm in agreement with you that things are going a little too smoothly. I think I'm in complete agreement there. I think we got to see something really crazy happen that's going to throw everything off. Clubby Canadian came through with a membership. Nakama, appreciate that, saying, I love that Brook is getting more love this arc, but man, do I need Usopp to do something soon. Look, I know you are not alone. I've been seeing this in my chat constantly. Again, when the time comes, he'll do something. I'm not too worried about it. He'll do something. Also, I would never say that, Roger, all you care about is fights. True ones know that you're a big lore lover. Oh my God, yeah, the lore is my favorite part of One Piece. Roberto, also echoing what was said earlier, saying, I love that Brook is the first Straw Hat to go against a Yonko, and now he's the first ever to go against Emu from the chat. This is very cool. I agree. I love that. Real Fan also said, I like the fact that we know that Houseman Mayer comes from West Blue. I need to find out more. Agree. Hollow Everest also said, also as a fun thought, which Straw Hat would be the most likely to get Domi reversied? I think Demon Robin would be fun. Ooh, Demonio Domi reversied Robin would be really cool. You know who I would actually want to get Domi reversied? I think this would make for a really good moment. Chopper. I think Domi reversied beast form Chopper would be great. Because everybody loves Chopper. They'd obviously be able to get through to him very easily. But I feel like, excuse me, you guys, I'm sorry. I feel like Domi reversing Chopper would really be great. Man, I'm still dying over here. I'm sorry, everybody. I know it's not fun when I'm like coughing in the middle of a cough. Let me just get a little more coffee. Hold on. But I think Chopper would be a cool one, just because we rarely ever get the chance to see Chopper fight. And people always forget when he's in Monster Point how terrifying he is. So if you get like Monster Point Chopper with demon fangs and wings going around attacking a bunch of people, and also he could fight on the Giants level because he's, Monster Point, I think that could be cool. Yeah. I think that could be really cool. I think another one that would be really neat, I think Zoro, Domi reversing would be cool. People are always hyping up Zoro. You've got Zoro slashing 6 of the Giants together. Imagine what that could be like if you have a Domi reversing Zoro. Like, dude, Domi, give me Whiskey Peak Luffy versus Zoro again. Dude, Domi reversing Zoro against Luffy. Awesome. Or Domi reversing Zoro against Loki. Woo! And that would, I think, be great. That would be your great intro into seeing how Luffy can reverse the Domi reverse, right? Like, what better way than to take his first mate? If you do something along the lines that Emu Domi reverses Zoro, and Luffy desperately needs to then find a way to get through to him, and manages to do it through whatever Gear 5 power it is, and then reverses it, and then we actually see, like, instead of Domi reversing Zoro, we would see Zoro like infused with Gear 5, bro. That would actually be crazy. Bro. I thought of something cool. This would give people a lot of things to chew on. Domi Reversi Zoro versus Sanji. That would be it. And that's when you see Sanji's hockey bloom. Because Sanji doesn't have a chance right now. That would be fire. Domi Reversi Zoro going in, and he's fighting against Luffy, and they're having this back and forth, and Sanji's like, I can't let this happen to my rival. Jumps in front, conquers hockey. Bro, woo! You guys are giving me chills, man. These ideas are good. I love the concept that one of the Straw Hats gets Domi Reversi'd, and that's because that would really, really up the stakes and make things very, very scary, you know? And then they would have to find a way out of that situation. I think that's a great idea. I honestly didn't even really consider that one of the Straw Hats would get Domi Reversi'd. I don't know. I think with all the other characters that are there right now, I just figured that there were a bunch of other characters that it would happen to first. But I love the concept of like Zoro or Sanji or Chopper or whatever, or Robin getting Domi Reversi'd and them having to save them. That'd be cool. I'll tell you the two I don't want it to happen to. I don't want Domi Reversi'd Brook. I don't want Domi Reversi'd Usopp. I think the two of them should do their own thing this arc. I think I don't want to see them get taken over and Domi Reversi'd and stuff, even if they're like fighting their way through it. Those two, I'd rather not. I also wouldn't want to see Jinbei or Frankie get Domi Reversi'd. Domi Reversi'd Frankie would be kind of sick though, with like all the cyborg powers. Jinbei, I don't know. Domi Reversi'd Jinbei, I'm thinking about it would be kind of lame. So I don't really want that, but we'll see, We'll see. Real fan came through and said, do you think that Oda will play the card that Bonnie could revert Elder Jarl to his prime for a bit to help out with this situation? I doubt it, but maybe. I always forget again that Bonnie's here right now. I mean, sure, that's sure, that's such a weird power that I could totally see that being, I could see that being something that gets implemented into this fight. But also, she's like on the other side of the island right now. She's with like the Walrus School stuff with Lilith. So that would be weird if she gets brought. Like, why would Lilith and Saul bring Kuma and Bonnie into the fray to then get harmed after everything they've been through in Egghead? You know what I mean? Unless Jarl somehow makes his way over there, Bonnie turns him younger, he returns to the battlefield, and it's Prime Jarl. That could be kind of cool. Yeah, that'd be cool. I Ate Your Potato came through with the super chat and said, it seems that Emu has an interest for blue hair. Vivi and possibly Lily and now Gunkko. Maybe there's importance to blue hair, and what does that make you think about Buggy? People really, really do love diving into the importance of Buggy. Buggy's obviously going to be one of the most important characters at the end of the story, right? He's going to be involved at Laugh Tale. He's one of the Yonko, Oda loves him. People love him. Buggy will do things at the end of the story. But in terms of like importance to the lore of the world, I'm not fully sold on the idea that like, oh, Buggy has blue hair and then is like from this world government family and is this chosen one. I think I think people want that to happen almost for the meme. I think there is a subsection of people that actually want it to happen because they want Buggy to be super important to the overall lore. But I like Buggy for what he is right now, right? For like the goofy first villain of the Straw Hats, the brother of Shanks, one of the Yonko. I mean, he's important enough as is, So, yeah. People are already calling him Man Mayor Buggy. That would be funny. Which of the Straw Hats do you think would have the coolest Domi Reversi design? I think Zoro probably would have the coolest. I mean, Zoro's whole thing is like Ashura and demons and fighting against the Grim Reaper. So I feel like Zoro's would be sick. He'd probably have an awesome Domi Reversi with like skeletons and demon horns and wings. I think that would be great. Also, I totally agree with what you said. Buggy keeps falling upwards. Exactly. Let me see. Is there anything else to talk about in this one? I think I got to all the super chats. Yeah, we talked about where Luffy and Loki are still not even here, so there's got to be something. Yeah, the more we talk about it, and the more I look at this chapter, and like the stuff with the new giant pirates and Zoro taking out like 6 of the no-name ones, I really do feel like we are due for a reversal of fortune. I feel like something really, really bad has to happen because right now, this almost seems too easy. Like right now, seeing everything that's happening, if if Luffy and Loki show up, I think it's kind of over, man. Especially with what we've seen from that flashback with Loki being the first one in history to tame Ragnar, and now having this devil fruit that's either a dragon or Fenrir or whatever it is, like, plus Luffy going Gear 5 at any point. I don't know. I feel like you throw the two of them in the room, they could take out anybody. So I'm super excited, super excited to see what's going to happen when they enter the room. But I also wonder, like, with what we have right now, I like what you guys are bringing up earlier with Killingham and Usopp. I was thinking about that a lot. I actually really do like that matchup. I think that's a cool one. Like him not being afraid of his own nightmares because he's already thought about them. Like a Perona situation is cool. Yeah, and the Brook and stuff with Gunkko I think is awesome as well. But yeah, I don't know. We got one from King Waffle who said, with all the, thank you, by the way, member for a year. Thank you, King Waffle. Member at the Nakama tier for a year. Yo, thank you. With all the Nika stuff in recent arcs, I'm glad to see Oda didn't forget about the rest of the Straw Hats. Do you think that Brook or another Straw Hat will get an awakening, and what would their ability be? I still think Sanji's Haki is going to bloom this arc. I think we're going to see Conqueror's Haki Sanji at some point this arc. Do you think Brook will get an awakening? Sure. I could see Brook being one of those characters that gets a big power boost. And I think maybe it could come from some type of memory being awakened with his time with the Menmayer family. So sure, totally agree. Aaron just super chatted for $10 and said, look up Roger AOT chapter 113 violence. Look at the panel where Levi's directly above the Titans and look where Zoro is positioned above the Giants. AOT chapter 113. Let's see. What page is this on? Let's see. Pull this up. Look for the panel with Levi directly above the Titans. I think I pretty much remember the exact shot you're talking about. This is like where they're all in the forest, right? Where he's trying to stop them. Oh, yeah. With all the giants surrounding him and he's just like right there in the middle. Dude, Attack on Titan is so good, man. I want to do a reread. I'm looking right now, like, because I own the colored version digitally, and I'm just like, man, I got to give this another read. I forgot how good this series was. I love Attack on Titan. Yeah, you can see a couple of the mirrors with some of the attacks where he's like jumping on the top of them, and then you're seeing Zoro in this one too. The difference is Levi's obviously flying around with his 3D maneuver gear, whereas Zoro's just doing all this without a wire. He's just hopping off the tops of the other giants and things. Yeah, very cool. And then Gabe D. Champ said, for how much longer do you think this arc is going to last? I agree that things seem very easy right now. Something else has to happen before they leave. I think it's done before the end of the year, guaranteed. I mean, there's no doubt about it. We're done before the end of the year. Also, Zephyr said, where the heck are you now? Remember, I'm in Vegas. I was in Vegas for a wedding. Now I'm driving back today to LA. We're literally going to finish the stream, and then I'm hopping in the car, and we're driving back to LA. So, yeah, but I've been in Vegas all weekend for a wedding. How much longer do I think the arc is going to be, though? I could see the arc going. I could see it wrapping up soon. I could see it wrapping up by like summer. I could also see it getting dragged out to the end of the year. But I don't know. Part of me is feeling like late summer, early fall is when we're going to be getting out of the arc. I don't know. I think it really depends on what Oda wants to do in terms of the reversal of fortune with the characters, right? Like doing something bad with Emu and making things kind of rough for the Straw Hats, or if he just wants us to get out of here and go directly into Final War, which I'm also perfectly fine with. I'm kind of in a position right now with Elbaf where like I'm ready for wherever Oda's going to take it, right? I'm enjoying this week to week. I'm not thinking too hard about it. I'm seeing some cool action panels, getting a couple lore drops, and that's kind of enough for me. That's kind of where I am with Elbaf right now. Yeah. So I don't know. In terms of how much longer it's going to last, I could see it wrap it up by summer. I definitely think it's over by the end of the year. Yeah. I do not see this lasting longer than the end of 2026. I think when we are in 2027, I think that is Final War. And I've been saying that. I've been saying that since 2022 when Oda said there was 5 years left in the series. And I was like, that tracks. 2027 is the 30th anniversary. We're going to be in Final War. And people were like, no, that's way too soon. And I'm like, we'll see. And then God Valley gave us all this information, and Egghead showed us the Gorosei. And now with where we are currently, we got these 3 God Knights, and we're kind of technically fighting Emu. So I don't know. I think it happens sooner rather than later. That's all I'm saying. So, but I definitely think 2027 we're into Final War. Yeah. I know Oda also said that we're going to go to like that island, which I'm presuming is going to be Lodestar, where, eventually you're supposed to discover the poneglyphs when you get to Lodestar. I'm assuming Lodestar is kind of soon after this. I think if we get to Lodestar Island, I think it's going to be a mini arc. So I could see a world in which we get out of Elbaf, really big climax of Elbaf, summer of this year. Mini arc starts, Lodestar. We leave Lodestar at the end of the year to head back to Marijoa for Final War. Or Lodestar is like one of the many fronts of Final War, right? That Emu doesn't know what the Straw Hats know, and vice versa. Nobody knows exactly what everybody already knows, what Blackbeard knows, what these other characters know. And so Lodestar maybe becomes a front for Final War. I don't know. But again, with Loki and Ragnarok and everything that's been teased in the series, I kind of feel like we are entering Final War right after this. So we'll see. Do you think Loki will be a Straw Hat? I don't know, and I don't care. How sad is that, man? I've been into One Piece for so long and doing content on One Piece for so long that the who's the next Straw Hat debate is like, I don't care anymore. I've been burned too many times, and I think there's too many times where it's made sense where it hasn't happened. And now I'm like, it is what it is. Who cares? Because now at this point in the story, like we're entering Final War. If somebody joins at this point of the story, like, so what? Who cares? You're a Straw Hat, but you're not like a Straw Hat, You haven't been with us through all these trials and tribulations. So if Loki wants to join now, whatever. You want to call him a Straw Hat, fine. Yamato and Carrot and all the other characters that are all going to come back for Final War, Kinemon, Bon Clay, whatever. Vivi, they're all Straw Hats. Who cares? I really don't care anymore. I think we're way, way, way too far in the story now for the introduction of a Straw Hat to make any sense, Or I shouldn't say to make any sense, but I think to leave any impact. I just don't care anymore. Yeah, I really, truly don't care. People really think we're going to get new Straw Hats? I do. I do think a lot of people think we're going to get new Straw Hats. Yeah. Yeah. I was burned on Carrot and then I was done. I mean, we were burned on Carrot. We were burned. I mean, this dates back to Fishman Island, right? I think you think back at like all the characters that at one point people thought were going to be Straw Hats. Look back at Dressrosa, early Dressrosa. People thought it was going to be Rebecca. Then there was like all the stuff with the Grand Fleet and then Bartolomeo. And then that happened. And we haven't seen the Grand Fleet really do anything since. And so you're like, okay, so they joined, but like, what are they doing? Not really anything. They showed up at, what's it called? The Reverie for a little bit. They haven't done much. Grand Fleet hasn't done much. Carrot was with us for a super long time. And then it was like, going back to Zoe. Okay. Kinemon Momonosuke, same thing. We're staying in Wano country. Yamato, same thing. Staying in Wano country. Loki, whoa, he's got this really cool power. Maybe he's going to come with us. Well, it would make sense if he comes with us because we're at the end now. He better come with us. But does that mean necessarily he's a Straw Hat? Whereas Vivi is kind of the only other one that makes sense. Vivi's the only one, considering how this arc started, where you get the newspaper with the message of Alabasta with the X, where she's clearly trying to send a message through Morgan's newspaper to the Straw Hats that like she knows what's going on. She knows that's Luffy. So when Vivi shows up again, I could see them making like a big thing like, our final Straw Hat is back. And that's a cute thing. But yeah, she's already kind of an honorary member. She kind of already is technically a Straw Hat. Like Otis talked about this. You could see this on all the artwork. You could see this on the banner for the official One Piece YouTube page where Vivi's up there with the rest of them. So yeah, Vivi coming back, being an actual official former member would be the only one that makes sense to me and would make me go like, oh, that's cool. Look at this. Our actual final Straw Hat is here. But beyond that, I don't know. I don't really care anymore. Yeah, Vivi's definitely an honorary member. That would make the most sense. Definitely officially a former Straw Hat, so I think she's for sure coming back. And she was present in Little Garden and Drum Island and Alabasta. She's honestly the only right answer, right? And pre-time skip. Again, even Jinbei, right? Jinbei joining he was more of a post-time skip character. But realistically, when he was first introduced and his trials and tribulations with our captain was pre-time skip. That was, all the stuff with Impel Down and Marineford. He was the one when Ace died that went to Luffy and said, "What's gone is gone, bro. Like, pull yourself together." He was the one there that Luffy could rely on when his crew was separated. So Jinbei has been through it. I feel like Jinbei deserves it. And then everything that happened with Fishman Island with the entire crew. So Jinbei makes sense. Jinbei makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I think that is going to be it. I think that's where we're going to leave things off this week. Thank you, as always, once again, everybody coming through to the stream. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you to everybody who super chatted. Thank you to everybody who became a member. That was a lot of fun. Again, it's a good, solid chapter. No, I have no complaints with chapters like this. I think when it's just moving the story right along, getting a couple good little bits of information, getting another chapter the next week, there's nothing to complain about, man. It's good. Good old-fashioned regular One Piece chapter this week. I wasn't spoiled on anything this week too, which is also nice, but also I feel like I understand why I wasn't because there wasn't really anything to spoil. It was just kind of like a normal chapter. But yeah, I don't know. Otherwise, thanks for joining me. Appreciate it. Hope you all have a lovely Super Bowl Sunday. And I will see you guys all tomorrow for Japan time. In the evening over on the Japan Time podcast channel. We're going to do Japan time. I've got a video I got to record right when I get back. That should be up on Wednesday. And I got another little goodie that's going up for you guys in the next couple days too. So look forward to that. But, in case you're only here for One Piece, I'll be back next week, next Sunday. And sooner or later, we're closing in on that One Piece live action. I got to figure out what's going on with those reactions. So I got to plan out some content for One Piece live action. That'll be a lot of fun. And that is that. So I will see you all later. Like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Nakama! All right, take care, everybody. Good night, everyone. Or I guess good morning. All right, are you sure you want to stop streaming? Yes.